How about Tracy before the pandemic? And how did your senior management feel about flexible work? What was the setup back then?
We always had flexible working hours. So ever since we started, and it was really taken seriously. It wasn't like, something that is written on paper, but then everybody expects you to be there from 9 to 12. Never happened, in my experience at least. Not the managers never thought that your presence was your work. They thought that your work, your tasks being ready was your work. However, of course, as the offices were built the way they were, you could see a lot of people hanging out there a lot. So, that was the other case. But yes, I think this type of flexibility has always been there in Prezi's DNA ever since they started. I think it was one of their first rules. Am I right, Susan?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, for us, when we actually transitioned during COVID, it wasn't too far of a stretch because we had offices in different time zones. And so, oh, okay, it just meant that a lot more people stretched into the different time zones. And now, even across the country, we would be on Zoom versus, oh, we'd be Zooming, or back then it was Skype or Blue Jeans, and we would use those different avenues, but we would communicate with our colleagues across the pond. And now it's like, okay, when we transitioned during COVID, it actually brought everyone to the same level playing field for anyone who was working remotely at the time. Now everyone was communicating in the same fashion. And then when in this space, it was much more deliberate when you're speaking to people. And then it made for occasions when we do have an opportunity to see each other in person for gatherings or whatnot. Here in the US, we tried to, at least locally for the San Francisco area, we try to get people together once a month and just to see face to face. And everyone is always, when they show up, is always happy to see one another. Nothing replaces face to face, but thankfully we're in a day and age where video conferencing it's a phone call, and it's so lovely to have that. So, I mean, in some ways it's a little restrictive. We can't see each other. It's a little bit different, but at the same time, we have more capacity to, and I can see your expression. I can see what's going on in your lives. And as we've experienced earlier, it's like life happens around us regardless of what we're doing. And so now it's, there is a little bit of a crossover of work and personal life, but then at the same time, it humanizes all of us, right? And brings us together as a company as well, at least how we experience it. And for getting together, I make it a point. So in Budapest, while we have a physical office space and people can gather more frequently, here in San Francisco or US based, we make it a point, we schedule a time and we actually do Zoom calls, and people have a one-on-one, just to touch base. And they're equally as lovely. And it just makes the opportunity when we see each other all the more special, because we'll actually be able to hug each other, which I'm looking forward to when we have our company get together here shortly.
Amazing. I mean, this is it. I see so many companies are currently discussing, oh, should we have a hybrid experience? What should we do? And the truth is that we were never born to be digital. So we're amazing at it. And it allows us flexibility, and it allows us to be with our loved ones, and it allows us more personal growth. It allows us to be healthier, but also there are risks. It takes away from our personal life, depending on what kind of boundaries the company has provided for the employees, because the employees cannot do it themselves. They need guidance.